And I will faithfully discharge.
And I will faithfully discharge.
The duties of Chief of Police.
The duties of Chief of Police.
For the City of Vancouver.
For the City of Vancouver.
Congratulations, John.
Thank you very much.
Now, the City of Vancouver has a new police chief. Jeff Mori was sworn in tonight as Vancouver's 25th police chief. K2's Catherine Kissel joins us live. So, Catherine, we all know the challenges law enforcement faces these days. How did he say he would lead?
Well, Deb, during the ceremony tonight, he acknowledged those challenges and says that he'll focus on three things. So first, doing his best, which includes a good attitude and effort, having emotional courage, standing up for what's right, and lastly, leading with respect for others.
What sounds simple, and it's really not, especially when you're wearing this uniform, is to just treat people with the dignity and respect that they deserve. Everybody that we come in contact to is related to someone. And I can thank my mother and my wife for the empathy that I have. They taught me how to be a better man, a better human.
Chief Mori has only been with Vancouver Police for 3 years. Prior to that, he was with Washington County as the undersheriff. He has 29 years of law enforcement experience. We sat down with him earlier this month when he says that he will lead the department with compassion.
But showing compassion, but before you even get to that, like rewind it before that event even happens. It's really having the very best training available. And it's probably no big secret to the law enforcement community, but maybe to the broader community in general. But when officers have more training in tactics, when they have more training in de-escalation, when they have more training in confrontational simulation, and more training in strategy, those officers actually have the least amount of applications of force.
Judges favor the suspected criminals. I combed through years of court records and I saw for myself, despite histories of skipping court and court-ordered supervision, Multnomah County judges continue to release those people from jail.
So you've moved your car up as well?
It may seem like a minor crime on paper. For Chris Baker, it was anything but. His security cameras captured the break-in. There's the financial impact, a new car payment, and the human impact.
You worry all the time somebody could come back.
Yeah, me and my wife both do. We're up, all hours of the night checking the videos.
Police arrested Ronald Bethune for Baker's break-in. We uncovered Bethune's lengthy criminal history in a K2 News investigation and shared it with Baker. This arrest marked Bethune's 6th arrest of 2022. Bethune is on probation in a separate case. According to the county agency supervising him, he has, quote, never reported as directed since being placed on probation in January. Court records show he's also skipped at least 3 court appearances in various cases. Still, judges continue to release him from jail.
When you see someone like that who's clearly not following the rules, how frustrating is that as a victim?
Very. I mean, he shouldn't have been out.
Is Bethune an outlier or proof of a larger problem? K2 Investigates tried to get that answer in this open records request. However, county agencies don't track what happens with people under their supervision while they wait for their trial. I analyzed court records myself and did what experts say the county should already be doing. K2 Investigates analyzed judicial releases for pretrial supervision in Multnomah County since 2019. It covers over 10,000 releases and roughly 5,300 suspects. We narrowed it down to releases in felony cases between January 2021 and April 2022. Further, we only looked at people with 2 or more supervised releases in that period. A total of 247 suspects. We went through each person's court cases one by one. Here's what we found. At least 196 of them, almost 8 in 10, skipped court. Hugo Diaz Barajas skipped court more than 10 times, according to court records. At least 64 of them, 1 in 4, failed to report to supervision. Take Timothy Richmond, who skipped supervision 5 times, according to court records. Others are accused of serious crimes while on pretrial supervision, like Colton Suckow. A judge approved his release in April 2021 in a burglary case. Police say he stole a van from a Portland hospital with a 6-year-old inside in March 2022. Court records show he skipped court 11 times in 4 years. Multnomah County Chief Criminal Judge Cheryl Albright.
I look at those cases and I wonder, what would a judge need to see to believe that person is going to show up in court?
Well, so I can't tell you individually on those cases. I can tell you that a lot of times the district attorney's office, based on some of the policies that got put in place in COVID, have said, we don't object because of this particular circumstance. We're in a shortfall of court-appointed attorneys, and rather than have people stuck in jail for months without a court-appointed attorney, some people are getting released who might not otherwise have gotten released. There are multiple factors at play here. Have judges made the wrong decision? Perhaps, but there's a lot going on, and it's just hard to say what's going on in each individual case.
When you see people who skip supervision or they get rearrested, but they're continually getting released, what message does that send to victims?
That certainly isn't a positive message that a victim would get from that, and they would have questions about that.
Albright says changes are on the way. A new state law will make the release process different. The county is also bringing on a data analyst to track what happens with people under their supervision. Chris Baker believes judges should get stricter and quit releasing people who ignore the rules and end up back in jail.
I don't know what these judges are doing, why they are favoring the crime, the person that commits the crime, more than the victims. It should be a balance, and it's not.
Well, this Supreme Court ruling, similar to the gun control ruling that we heard recently and the abortion rights ruling, puts the decision-making ability back on the state. So Oregon, like other states, gets to decide its own gas emission policy. I did talk to a constitutional expert today who says this could really change the way all federal agencies operate. Essentially, it's telling federal lawmakers that they can no longer let experts like EPA decide the way to regulate their own industry.
Congress typically will pass a law that says, the EPA should regulate to make sure that we have clean water.
Chris Shortell is an associate professor of law at Portland State University. He tells me Thursday's Supreme Court ruling tells Congress federal lawmakers now must set pollution standards. It actually has to specify, with this example of water, the exact amount of pollutants allowed in order for EPA to regulate them.
Congress historically has said we don't really have the expertise to determine that. We're going to have these administrative agencies figure that out, and we're going to empower them to do that.
How does the ruling affect the Pacific Northwest? It calls into question every single federal agency operation by allowing challengers to say Congress wasn't specific enough in its guidance.
So in Oregon, for example, the Bonneville Power Authority is a federal agency that affects power generation in the Northwest. There are lots of other federal agencies in Oregon in particular, because we share a border and a river with Washington. There's a lot of intergovernmental involvement in this area. Same thing with tribes. We have a lot of tribal land in Oregon.
The Federal Bureau of Reclamation decisions on water rights in Klamath County and other parts of Oregon are historically controversial and now possibly ripe for challenge. Harry Steve with the Oregon Department of Environmental Protection tells me it's also important to think about how other states' decisions can affect Oregon residents. If other states loosen or if we eliminate federal regulations, we all breathe the same air and can all share negative effects.
If you're making progress in one area but someone else is not, then you're not making great progress.